Welcome to Anime Recaps. In this video, we will explain Shikakuman. This anime tells the story of a boy who decides to reincarnate far into the future, hoping to alter his fate. Thousands of years later, he is reborn as Mathias Hildeshammer, successfully obtaining his long-coveted crest. How is the adventure in his new life? Let's find out in Shikakuman. Shikakuman is set in an ancient magical world that still has a very strong magic culture. There was a very powerful and genius wizard named Gaius at that time. Gaius is known as a legendary master in the wizarding world and is thought to have mastered various sorcery that could defeat thousands of the strongest monsters on Earth. That's why many monsters are afraid and submit to him. One of them was the black dragon monster named Iris, who was defeated by Gaius. However, Gaius has one problem that prevents him from becoming the strongest magic master. He has 3 magic symbols on his body that can't grow anymore because his strength is already very overpowered. He then decided to reincarnate into the future to obtain the 4th magic symbol so that he could become the strongest magic master. The scene changes to when the wizarding world has changed 5,000 years later. Gaius has now been reborn as a young boy named Mathias Hildeshammer and lives in a very prosperous kingdom. That day, Mathias decided to enroll as a student at a magic academy to increase his magic power and immediately obtain the 4th magic emblem. When Mathias was visiting a gun shop run by a blacksmith, he met 2 girls his age named Alma and Luri. Alma was seen trying to repair her magic sword at the shop because the magic sword she had was still not functioning properly. Mathias, who has a genius in the field of magic, tries to help by implanting magic and magic stones to be installed into Alma's magic sword. When Alma tried to use the magic sword, the blacksmith who was there looked surprised because its power was quite large, and Mathias only needed a very short time to make it. The day of the enrollment selection to enter the Magic Academy had arrived. Mathias, Alma and Luri then enroll in the academy. When Luri did the selection exam, she managed to beat the examiner by breaking the examiner's magic sword. It made all the examiners astonished and curious about her magic sword. After all, the examiners found out that the person who made the magic swords belonging to Alma and Luri was Mathias. The academy decided to test Mathias differently. Mathias will be tested by doing a one-on-one duel with the test commander. The test commander, who seemed to underestimate Mathias' magical prowess, immediately got ready by raising his magic sword to let Mathias attack first. Mathias, who looked annoyed because the examiner commander underestimated him, immediately ran and swung his sword at the examiner. Mathias won the duel within seconds, sending the examiner's magic sword flying far away. After Mathias, Alma and Luri passed the first stage of the selection exam. They continued to take the second stage of the selection test, namely the magic power test. Mathias felt strange because all the participants there used chanting magic, a magic that can only be performed after the user casts a spell. For Mathias, chanting magic was outdated and was no longer effectively used on the battlefield. Mathias also learned that the magic symbols respected in this era are only his first magic symbols, while other symbols are considered useless or failed. When Mathias' turn showed his magic power, everyone was amazed because he could use magic without spells or not chanting magic. Mathias also successfully passed every test in this second stage of selection because his magic created a more powerful effect than chant magic. After making observations, Mathias concluded that the magic of today's era is actually declining and people's knowledge of magic has also decreased. A few days later, the day of the Magic Academy's new student welcome ceremony arrived. Mathias, who managed to get the highest score in the Magic Academy entrance exam, was specifically asked by the headmaster named Edward to come to his room. Edward, who had learned that Mathias could use magic without chanting, asked him to be willing to teach his magic to second-level academy students. Through Edward's explanation, Mathias finally finds out why magic without chanting is no longer used. It turns out that no one in this kingdom can use magic without chanting. Edward also admits that magic without chanting is the most effective magic on the battlefield. Mathias, who loves magic very much, agrees to Edward's request to teach at the academy, but they have a problem. Magic without chanting is not yet registered in the Magic Academy curriculum, so they have to take an academic competency test to prove the potential and power of magic without chanting to be taught to the academy. On the following day, Mathias began to prepare to undergo inter-academic competence. This time he will fight 3 male students from other magic academies. The 3 students insulted Mathias as a symbol of failure and underestimated his magic power. Unfortunately, Mathias realizes that one of the students is a demon disguised as a human. When the battle begins, Mathias can easily defeat the other 2 students and leave one student who is actually a devil. The demon pretended to use chant magic even though he could actually do magic without spells. Mathias took advantage of this situation to defeat the demon with magic without chanting, which was much faster and more effective. Through the battle, Mathias concludes that the devil pretends to be a human who uses chanting magic so that the magic possessed by humans is getting weaker. The devil named Deviles died instantly when Mathias slashed him with his magic sword. Mathias' ability to kill demons alone is considered a great achievement by the kingdom, so he is given awards and prizes by the king. Mathias was allowed to ask for anything, and the king granted the request. Then Mathias asked the king to give rights to the dungeon resources in the kingdom. The king immediately approved the request because everyone at that time still did not know the potential stored in the dungeon's resources. Whereas according to Mathias, dungeon resources can produce gold and other materials used to make magic weapons. Besides asking for dungeon resources, Mathias also asked for an heirloom sword from the magic weapon store in the kingdom. He knew that no one else could use it because it was a special magic sword he had made hundreds of years ago. After that, Mathias invites Alma and Luri to enter the dungeon room to practice magic power. Alma and Luri didn't realize that their magic abilities would increase even more by practicing magic power in the dungeon world. Meanwhile, Mathias went straight to the bottom room to defeat the serpent dragon monster to increase his magic power. When Mathias, Alma and Luri intend to return home, Mathias detects a demon that has entered their kingdom area. The two demons were companions of the devilish monster that Mathias had killed earlier. They want to see Mathias' abilities and take revenge for Devilish's death. Mathias immediately fought against the two demons with his sword skills, even though he realized that the power of the two demons was greater than his magic power. Mathias was still able to defeat the two demons with his special technique and genius magic. Mathias again received an award from the kingdom for defeating the two demons. The king then asked what him wished this time. Mathias asks the king for permission to enter the forbidden area of the kingdom to defeat other demons and find other sources of magic power. Mathias went to a cave located in the Rocky Mountains with Luri and Alma the next day. After a long journey, they arrived at a place where a black dragon named Iris was fast asleep. Iris is a monster that Mathias defeated at the beginning of the film and is left alive by Mathias because Iris had asked him for forgiveness. Iris, who didn't realize that Mathias was the reincarnation of Gaius, immediately tried to attack him with a burst of fire magic. But the magic was successfully cancelled by Mathias with one move of his magic sword. After Iris found out that Mathias was the Gaius who had beaten her in the past, she immediately apologized to him. Mathias then asked Iris about the cause of the decline in magic possessed by humans in this era. Iris explains that after Gaius died, a huge magic reactor exploded and destroyed all ancient magic power so that humanity, at that time, returned to the Stone Age. After that, Mathias, Alma and Luri went by riding Iris to a location where several demons were hiding. When they arrived at the place of the demons, Mathias immediately attacked all the demons with the power of his sword and magic power. In a short time, Mathias managed to blow up the place and all the demons in that place to pieces. Having finished with his mission this time, they returned to the kingdom with Iris. Before entering the kingdom's territory, Mathias asked Iris to turn herself into a human first. After Iris transformed into a beautiful girl, Mathias took her to the academy to enroll as one of the students there. And as we expected, when Iris did the academy entrance selection exam, she could complete every stage of the exam very easily. In the following days, Mathias resumed his duties as a magic teacher at the academy. With thousands of years of experience as a magic master and his knowledge of magic, he can teach various techniques and magic without chanting quickly and effectively. Mathias must be able to prepare all the students of the Magic Academy to face the invasion of the monsters who will soon come to rule the kingdom. When the invasion attack from the monsters arrived, the Magic Academy students were already able to use chant magic to protect the kingdom. Meanwhile, Mathias, with his magic power and sword skills, began to slash down every monster that attacked from above the royal sky. He can even easily defeat the giant rhino monster, which has been considered one of the strongest monsters by the kingdom's people. After the battle, the king and all the kingdom's citizens seemed happy and proud of Mathias' heroic actions in protecting the kingdom. They began to wonder who Mathias really was. The next day, Mathias decided to leave the royal capital and go on a trip with Alma, Luri and Iris because his current duties in the kingdom were finished. After traveling for several days, Mathias and his companions finally arrived at a settlement in the border region. It turned out that news of Mathias' greatness had reached the area, so one man in the village was interested in seeing his abilities firsthand. That man was named Gilas, a person who always won in every battle and was known as a genius fighter since he was a child. While looking at Gilas, Mathias did find quite a lot of magic power in Gilas' body. That's why Gilas is so confident in his strength. Shortly after, the one-on-one duel between Mathias and Gilas began. Gilas, who claims that he can't do magic and only uses the sword's power, doesn't realize that he has actually used magic power in every fight. The fight between Mathias and Gilas was quite epic because the sword skills of both were equally extraordinary. Mathias even recognizes the potential power that Gilas has. However, it is clear that Gilas is not a worthy opponent for Mathias because he can easily defeat him with his fighting ability. After the match, Mathias gives a magic book to Gilas to increase his magic knowledge. After that, Mathias and his friends continued their journey until they arrived at a city called Melkia. Melkia is a city known as the City of the Dead because many of its residents are experiencing hunger and misery due to its corrupt leader. After Mathias investigates further, it is discovered that the current leader of the city of Melkia is actually not corrupt but is being enslaved by a powerful demon who lives underground in the city. Knowing this, Mathias and his friends immediately looked for the place where the demon was hiding. After he managed to find the demon's whereabouts, Mathias decided to immediately defeat the demon. However, the demon he faced this time was quite strong because the demon was controlled by the strongest demon mother from a long distance, so Mathias had difficulty fighting the demon. The demon also felt overwhelmed by Mathias' power and began to suspect that Mathias was really the reincarnation of Gaius. After a long and very fierce battle, Mathias finally defeated the monster. The next day, Mathias immediately found out who the demons had controlled the demons in the city of Melkia. Mathias, Alma, Luri and Iris went to the ferry to an old building to find a tracking device Mathias had created several thousand years ago. After finding the tracking device, Mathias immediately activated it and found out who the controlling demon was. After conducting an investigation, Mathias was surprised to learn that the controlling demon was Zardias, one of the strongest demons on Earth that is hard to beat by any magic user, even mages of a master class like him. Fortunately, this devil is still sealed, so Mathias has enough time to find a weapon that can defeat the demon. As it turned out, the weapon that could defeat the demon was the holy sword Mathias had created before he was reincarnated. The holy sword was coincidentally located in the armory in the royal palace. Mathias, Alma and Luri immediately went to the royal capital to retrieve the weapon by riding Iris. Unfortunately, in the middle of the journey, Zardias managed to escape from his prison seal and immediately went hunting Mathias. Mathias had no other choice but to face Zardias while Alma and Luri headed towards the royal palace to retrieve the holy sword. With the help of Iris' power, Mathias tried to block Zardias' attack with all his might. The fierce battle between Mathias and Zardias finally happened. With the magic power Mathias currently has, he can't beat Zardias quickly. In addition, he also has to protect the kingdom from Zardias' attacks at the same time so that his energy starts to drain. Alma and Luri finally arrived with Mathias' holy sword at the last moment. Unfortunately, just as Mathias was about to receive the sword, Zardias quickly stabbed him in the back. Mathias was killed instantly and immediately fell to the ground. But a miracle suddenly happened. Mathias returned to life, and the holy sword became active. It turns out that to be able to activate the holy sword, the user of the sword must die first. Mathias managed to get the boundless power of the holy sword and was finally able to match Zardias' power. The epic battle between Mathias and Zardia continues again. In a short time, Mathias finally managed to defeat Zardias with the full power of his holy sword. In the last seconds before his death, Zardias said that there were still many powerful demons on this earth who would hunt Mathias. After all, Mathias will continue to improve his magic and prepare to face any demons that will attack him in the future. The film closes with a scene where Mathias confesses his love for Luri and kisses her gently under the moonlight at night. The moral we can learn from this anime is that we should not underestimate and judge someone just because that person has different thoughts or principles from ours, because we can never know for sure who is actually in the right position.